So in this video, we are going to learn how to add new user from Interakt to Zoho CRM every week. Let's say you are using Interakt as a platform to connect with your clients, customers or leads on WhatsApp, and you are using Zoho CRM as a CRM application. Now you want that all the client, customer or leads to whom you are contacting using Interakt, every week you want to add those new leads or new users from Interakt to your Zoho CRM. So let me tell you, you can actually automate this process. So in this automation, first we are going to schedule this automation to be executed every week. So once every week, this automation workflow will trigger, it will start. Then after that, it will get the details of all the users, all the new users added in our Interakt account in last week, in last 7 days. And after that, after getting the details of the new users from last 7 days, we are going to add those users as leads in our Zoho CRM account. Now, if you want to know how you can set up this automation, for that, you just have to come with me to my screen.
So as you can see, here we are on Pabbly Connect's dashboard. Now to reach this dashboard, you will get a free sign-up link of Pabbly Connect in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can create your free Pabbly Connect account in just 2 minutes. And after reaching to this dashboard, just click on Create Workflow and give this workflow a name. For example, I would like to name my workflow as Interakt to Zoho CRM. And then just click on Create. Now you can see that a workflow is open over here. And in this workflow, we have 2 different windows. First one is the trigger window and second one is the action window. So triggers and actions are basically those 2 concepts, those 2 principles on which this whole automation works on. Where the trigger says when this happens and the action says do this. So let's start with a trigger window. Now the idea here is, first, we are going to schedule this automation workflow to be executed every 7 days. So in this video, we took an example of 7 days. Like every week, I want to get the details of new users from Interakt and I want to add those new users which are added in last 7 days, in last week to Zoho CRM as lead. So first, we will ensure this automation workflow should execute every week. Then after that, in the next step, we are going to get the details of the new users which were added in last week in our Interakt account. And after that, using the next step, using the same automation, we are going to send the details of those new users to Zoho CRM and we are going to add those users as leads over there. So let's see how it is done. Starting from our trigger window here in Choose App, we have to select Schedule by Pabbly over here. Because first we want to schedule this automation workflow to be executed every 7 days, every week. After selecting Schedule by Pabbly, here it is asking us how often you want to run your workflow. And in the drop down, you can see there are several options. At regular interval, once, every day, days of the week or dates of the month. So if you want to run your automation workflow at a specific day every week, you can select days of the week or you can also select regular interval too. So I will be selecting days of the week and after selecting that, it is asking us for the days. So from the drop down, you have to select the day that at every week at what date you want to run this automation workflow. For example, I will be selecting Friday. Like every Friday, I want this automation workflow to run. Then at what time this automation workflow should run on Friday. So for example, I want the time to be 10 a.m. over here. So I'm selecting 10 a.m. and then just click on save. So in this way, we have scheduled this automation workflow to start to trigger every Friday at 10 a.m. After triggering it, what we want to do, in the next step, we want to first get the details of the new users which were added in last 7 days, last week in our Interakt account. For that, we will just scroll down, come to this action window and here in Choose App, we are going to search for Interakt. Just select it. After selecting Interakt in action event from the drop down, select the action event as Fetch Created User. Then just click on Connect and select Add New Connection over here. Now here guys, we have to connect our Interakt account with Pabbly Connect. And to make this connection, we have to enter the secret key of our Interakt account. Now you must be thinking how you can get this secret key from your Interakt account. So to get it, just go to your Interakt account and here in the profile section, just go to this developer settings over here. At developer settings, here you can see the secret key of your Interakt account. Just copy this secret key from here, go to Pabbly Connect and paste it over here. And after pasting it, just click on save. Now when we click on save, we will see our Interact account will get connected with Pabbly Connect. After making this connection, the first thing it asks us is offset. And the help text says this API call will return at max 100 user in one call. In case you are fetching more than 100 user, then you have to make the first API call with offset 0 and second API call with offset 100. So using this one action step, we can fetch at max 100 users data at one go at this using this one action step. So if you want to get the details of more than 100 users, then what you have to do? You have to enter the offset as 100. And if you want to get the details of the last 100 users only, then you can enter the offset of 0. So in my Interact account, on a weekly basis, on an average, I have less than 100 users. I get less than 100 users. So the maximum number of users which I'm going to fetch is less than 100. That's why I'm selecting 0 over here. Then after offset, the next thing it asks us is created after date. And then it is asking us created before date. So here guys, what we have to do, we have to enter two dates over here. That after what date and before what date we want to get or fetch the users between. So we want to fetch the users of last week. So let's take an example like today it is 17th of August. I want to fetch the users from 10th of August to 16th of August. So from last 7 days, whatever new users are added in Interact, I want to get the details of those users. So we have to basically enter those two dates over here. But because this automation workflow will be executed every week, this before date and after date, created before date and created after date will be keep on changing for every week, for every execution. So what we are going to do, we will be using a feature or module of Pabbly Connect that is called date time formatter. Using date time formatter, we are going to add two dates over here in this automation workflow. The first date will be of 7 days before when this automation workflow will be executed. And the second date will be of 1 day before this execution. Let me show you. It is very simple to use date time formatter. Before this interact step, just click on this add action step button over here. And then here in choose app, search for date time formatter. Just select it. After selecting date time formatter, in action event from the drop down, we are going to select modify current date as the action event. Because when this automation workflow will execute, we want to get a date 7 days before this execution date. So that's why we are going to modify the current date like today's date, and we are going to subtract 7 days from this date. So just click on this connect button. After clicking on connect, the first thing it asks us is the date format. So here in interact step, you can see it is asking us the date in specific format of year, month and day. So we are going to select that exact same format from this drop down in this date format. Then it is asking us for the time zone, that according to what time zone we want the date to be. So I am in India, and in India we follow Asia Kolkata time zone. So I'm going to select Asia Kolkata time zone over here. Then it is asking us operation, and in the drop down we have two different options, add or subtract. Now here guys, we want to subtract 7 days from current date. From today's date, we want to subtract 7 days. We want a date 7 days before today's date. So that's why we are going to select subtract over here. In units, we are going to select days because we want to subtract days, and in value, we are going to enter 7 over here. And then just click on save and send test request. Now when we click on save and send test request, here you can see in response, we have received a date that is 10th of August 2023. The date 7 days before from today. So here guys, we have received the date as the created after date. Like we want to get the users which are created after 10th of August. And we now also have to get the created before date. Like after 10th of August and before what date we want to get the subscribers from. So what we have to do, we have to use this same step of modify current date once again. And this time we are going to subtract 1 day over here. So here guys, as I told you, today is 17th of August. We want the users who are created after 10th of August till 16th of August over here. So 16th of August will be 1 day before today's date on which this automation workflow is going to execute. So once again, we are going to use this modify current date action step, and this time we are going to subtract 1 day over here. Now, instead of adding this complete step once again, what you can do, you can just click on these three dots, click on this copy step button. And once again, click on these three dots and click on paste step. And now you will see this exact same step which we have created just now. The same step is once again copied and pasted over here below that. And in this pasted step which we have pasted right now, we have to just change the value as 1 and click on save and send test request. After clicking on save and send test request, you can see we have received a date that is 16th of August, a day before today's date. So in this way, we have received the dates like after what date and before what date we want to get the user's details from Interact. Now what we have to do, we have to map this date, these two dates which we have received from these two date time formatter steps to this Interact step. So let's map it. Just click here, but right now in this drop down, you can't see any data to map. First, click on this refresh fields button because we have added some new steps, some new data before this step. And then we are going to map this data. And here guys, the process of mapping is very simple. Simply click on this field and here in this drop down, you can see responses from previous step. So before this step, now we have added three different steps. We have the scheduler step as the trigger. Then we have selected date time formatter once to get the date 7 days before today. And then once again, we have added date time formatter to get the day 1 day before today. So here in created after date, we are going to map the response of date time formatter using which we have received the date of 7 days before today. So we are going to select it and map it over here. And here in created before date, what we are going to do, we are going to map the date 1 day before today. So here guys, in this way, using date time formatter, we have received two dates over here, which is 7 days before today and 1 day before today. And we have mapped all of those dates, both of those dates in this Interact step. And we are telling Interact that we want to get the details, fetch the user details which are created between this time period. Now, after mapping the dates, just click on save and send test request. And when we click on save and send test request, here you can see we have received the response. And in this response, you will see one by one, we are going to receive the details of each and every user which is created between these two dates. But here guys, you can see we have received this response in simple format. Now here what we have to do, you can see a button named as simple response over here. We have to turn this button off of simple response and then we have to click on save and send test request. Now when we click on this save and send test request button now, you can see once again we have received the details of all the users, but this time the response which we have received, this response is in array format. This means we have collectively received the details, the response of all the users which are created in that time period, in this time duration in our Interact account. So in this way, we have successfully fetched the details of all the users created in last 7 days in our Interact account, and we have received that data inside Pabbly Connect. Now what we have to do, one by one we are going to process the details of each and every user, and one by one we are going to add all of these users as leads in Zoho CRM. And to process this complete array data, to one by one get the details of each and every user and add that user as a new lead in Zoho CRM, we have to use another feature of Pabbly Connect that is called Iterator. So using Iterator, we are going to convert this response of array format into a simpler format, and we are going to process the data of each and every person one by one. To use Iterator, just scroll down and click on this Add Action Step button over here. And then here in Choose App, select Iterator. After selecting Iterator by Pabbly, here in Choose Array, you can see in the drop-down, it has automatically detected the response which we have received in array format. So we have received this response of data customer from Interact in array format, and Iterator has automatically detected that response. Just click on this Save and Send Test Request button. And after clicking on Save and Send Test Request, here you can see we have received the response. And in this response, you can see the details of one user, the first user whose data we have received in this array. You can see the details of that first user in response. You can see the date and time, that at what date and time this user was created. You can see the phone number, the mobile number of this user, Then you can see the full name of this person, you can see the first name, last name, email address, and all the other details which you have entered. One by one, you will see all of these details of the user in this response. So in this way, you can see we have successfully retrieved the details of all the users created in last 1 week in our Interact account inside Pabbly Connect, and using Iterator, one by one, we are going to process each and every user details. Now, after all of this, let's move to the final step where we are going to add this person as a lead in Zoho CRM. For that, we will just scroll down, click on this Add Action Step button over here, and then here in Choose App, search for Zoho CRM. Just select it. After selecting Zoho CRM, an action event from the drop-down, select the action event as Insert/Update Record. Just select this action event over here. Then just click on Connect and select Add New Connection. Now here guys, we have to connect our Zoho CRM account with Pabbly Connect. And to make this connection, click on this Connect with Zoho CRM button. Now because I have already logged into my Zoho CRM account, it will detect the same account. But before that, it is asking us for the domain. That what is the domain of our Zoho CRM account? Now to get the domain, just log into your Zoho CRM account, and here in the URL section, you can see the domain. Like the domain of my Zoho account is zoho.com. So just copy the domain from the URL section and paste it over here. And after pasting the domain, just click on Save. Now when we click on Save, before as I told you that we have already logged into a Zoho account and Pabbly Connect has detected the same account. So we will just click on this Accept button, and as we click on this Accept button, automatically our Zoho CRM account will get connected with Pabbly Connect. After connecting our account, the first thing it asks us is module name. And in the drop down here, you can see a list of different modules which we can create or insert in our Zoho CRM account. Now in this video, because we want to add these users from Interact as leads in Zoho CRM, so we are going to select leads over here. After selecting leads, it is asking us for the layout. So it is most likely possible that you might have created different layouts with different fields in your Zoho CRM account. So here in this drop down of layout, you can see a list of all the layouts which you have created. If you have only one standard layout, you can see only one option like me. So I'm going to select the standard layout over here. But just in case if you have multiple layouts, you can select any layout of your choice from the drop down. Then it is asking us pipeline name. So the field of pipeline name is required only for deals. Like if you are creating deals using this action in Zoho CRM, then you have to enter the pipeline name. So for now, to creating new leads, you can ignore this field of pipeline name. We will scroll down, and here you can see it is asking us some details of the lead like first name, last name, full name, and all the other details. We have received these details of the user from Interact. So from our Interact account, you can see we have received the response of the person. And here in these responses, you can see the response of first name of the new user which was created in Interact. You can also see the last name, you can see the email address, then you can see the mobile number and all the other details. Now what we have to do, we have to one by one map all of these details, send all of these details which we have received from Interact to this Zoho CRM step. And guys, we are going to map all of these details over here. Like here in first name, we will just click on this field, and in the drop down, you can see a list of all the responses from previous step. Out of all of this, we are going to select the responses from Iterator. And from Iterator responses, we are going to select and map the response of first name. Then after that, it is asking us for the last name. So from the drop down, select and map the response of last name. Then it is asking us for the full name. So here we have also received the response of full name, so you can map it too. Then we haven't received the designation, and the field of designation is not mandatory, it's not required. So if you want, you can ignore this field for now. Then here in email from the drop down, from Iterator, let's map the email address. Then it is asking us for the phone or fax number. So we haven't received these two details, but we have received the mobile number. So we are going to map it. Just click here. From the drop down, select and map the response of mobile number. Then it is asking us for the lead source. So from the drop down, we are going to select the lead source according to your choice. So in the drop down, you can see there are a list of different options over here. So from which source you are getting this new lead. So I'm running an online store on Interact, so I will be selecting online store over here. If you want, you can select any option of your choice or just keep it blank too. Then it is asking us lead status. So all the leads which I'm creating using this automation in Zoho CRM, I want the status of those leads to be contacted. So I'm selecting that. Then it is asking us some other details regarding these new leads which we are creating. So we haven't received all of these details from Interakt, so we are going to keep this field blank. If you are adding all of these details of a new user in Interakt, you can actually map the data into the respective field. And after mapping all of these details, what you have to do, just click on this Save and Send Test Request button. Now when we click on Save and Send Test Request, here you can see we have received some response. And this response seems to be a positive response to us. This response shows that the details of the user which we have mapped over here, basically the details of the user which we have received from Interakt, the same person is now added as a new lead in our Zoho CRM account. So let's check it. We will go to Zoho CRM, we will go to Leads section. And yes, here you can see that test demo, the same person whose data we have received from Interakt inside Pabbly Connect. Over here you can see in the iterator step, the same person is now added as a new lead in Zoho CRM. You can see the same name, same email address, same mobile number, and also the same details. The lead status is contacted, the lead source is online store. So here are the same details which we have selected, which we have entered. This means the automation workflow which we have created in this video, this automation is working perfectly fine. Now while setting up this automation, only one lead is added in our Zoho CRM account. But after successfully creating this automation, whatever date and time we have selected while scheduling in the scheduler step, at the same date and time, this automation workflow will run, it will execute. Like I have selected Friday at 10 a.m. So every Friday at 10 a.m., this automation workflow will trigger. Then after that, it is going to get two dates using date time formatter. The first date will be 7 days before the date of execution, and the second date will be 1 day before the date of execution. Then using Interakt, we are going to fetch the created user's details. We are going to get the user details between that time period. So using this action step, we are going to get all the new user details which were created in last 1 week in our Interakt account. But we are going to get this response in array format. So in the next step, using iterator, we are going to process the details of this user one by one, and then we are going to one by one add all of these users from Interakt as leads in Zoho CRM. So not just these applications, you can connect plenty of other applications with Pabbly Connect. And one more important thing, you will find the clone link of the same workflow in the description box below. By clicking on that link, you can clone the same workflow into your own Pabbly Connect account and use this workflow. Also, let me tell you, Pabbly Connect offers you a free plan. And in this plan, you will get some free tasks every month into your own Pabbly Connect account. So if you want to try and test this automation, you can do it for absolutely free.
If you have any kind of doubts or queries, you can post them on forum.pabbly.com. So if this video was helpful to you, you can obviously like this video, comment down your suggestion, and don't forget to share it with others. So guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you. Have a great day.